Welcome, 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 as Dr. Ron would say. This is SNN, Street News Now. Thank you for joining us this evening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, no matter what platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, whatever. Go ahead and share this broadcast, and that will help us reach more people. The more you share it and comment, we want you to comment, make your comments. We'll put them up on the screen so people can see what you're saying. That way, you are participating in this worldwide broadcast. Now, I've been off the show for about, what, 4 weeks now? And I apologize because I always want to be here, but business has been keeping me away and it's been driving me nuts. So I apologize, but thank you for hanging in there. And again, welcome to the show. The main theme for the show tonight is the biggest topic in this country right now, and that's whether or not Donald Trump is going to go to jail along with all of his cronies. Now, he's been able to dodge two bullets, if you will, when he was um, on a public trial for doing crazy stuff as the president, and they should have gotten him at that point, and they didn't because the Republicans were in lockstep with his bovine, and that's how we got to the insurrection on January 6th. Now, the evidence are clear, and I knew it. I think most people with an IQ 2 points above plant life knew that what he was doing was illegal. And, you know, now Trump, not Trump, but Pence looks like a damn hero, but he's not. Nor are any of the other people on the Republican side now coming out saying that, well, yeah, he did wrong, man. And, he lied. And, well, you lied right along with him because you didn't stand up. You weren't man enough, woman enough, or patriotic enough to stand up and say, no, stop this crap. You lost. You are a criminal. You lied to the American people. You got people all riled up believing that you won. You didn't. You lost fair and square. So I say to Pence and all the other Republicans that are now finally coming out saying, "Yep, yep, he lied. He told us to lie." And you did because you didn't stand up from day one. So you were a coward. You were a piece of you know what. Now you see that the house is on fire. The boat has a big hole in the bottom of it, and you know it's going down. The house is on fire and it's going to burn down to the ground. Now you're trying to save your own hide. So I say, no, Pence is not a hero. He had the ability to stand up and get the rest of the Republicans to get in line. Mitch McConnell, you are a criminal as well because you knew this son of a gun was lying, but you didn't stand up. And none of the rest of the major Republicans, you guys went along with it. Why? Because you were in lockstep with him. So, as far as I'm concerned, all of you, anybody that didn't stand up and say, no, Mr. President, I'm not going down like that. Barr finally got some chutzpah and said, okay, I'm out. I can't go along with this parade because it's going down the wrong street. But he was too late. He went along with it as well. So I say to all of you Republicans, you don't get a pass from me. You had a shot 2 times to get this guy out of office, and you didn't do it. So, no, you don't get a pass from me. With that, let me bring in the Reverend Doctor, the Skull Murphy of all 6 of us, Dr. Ron.
The what?
Welcome to the show.
The
The
what?
Skull Murphy.
What is the skull Murphy? Is that a 1920s term or something?
I don't know where it came from, but you're the official Skull Murphy of the group.
Oh,
Got
okay.
less hair than all of us.
Oh, less hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that'd be me. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yes.
How you doing,
And
Ron?
in Technicolor. Yes, I'm doing
Technicolor. Yeah.
good. I'm doing
Right.
good, man.
Well,
I
good.
totally agree with your opening commentary, man. They all guilty, you know.
Yeah.
Like the good book said, ye without sin cast the first stone.
That's right.
They all got blood on their hands, you know. Um, man.
There's no way we should have gotten to January 6th with people kicking in windows and doors and killing people and injuring, the officials there. It just should have never gotten there. But he encouraged the people. He told them. He gave them a directive. And I
Yep.
said, we all said it.
Yep.
We didn't need the committee to come up with the evidence. I'm glad they did.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw what we saw. We heard what we heard.
Yeah.
And as I said, you just need an IQ 2 points above plant life to see what was really going on.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the story where the wife caught the husband cheating, and he turned to his wife and said, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." She said, "It was you. I saw it was you." He said, "Well, you gonna believe me or you gonna believe your lying eyes?"
Right. And the other younger Skull Murphy of the group, here we go.
That
Was a
was a good
buckety
one.
buck.
What comedian said that? There was a comedian. Who
Oh,
said
that was an old joke that goes all the way back to Lee's
Yeah.
day.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
somebody-
Red Fox?
Oh, it pre-me.
Yeah, it
Mom's
was somebody.
Mabley.
Somebody
might have been.
on the strip of Vegas used to do that joke quite regularly every night.
Right.
Oh man, I used to love Red Fox too.
Yeah, Fox
Yeah.
was a mess.
His albums was so dirty, man.
Hmm.
He wasn't Fred Sanford at all. It's like it's amazing how
No,
he
he
even got.
wasn't.
And do you know they say that that he used to get, was it him who got arrested a couple of times for being so dirty on stage, or was it Richard Pryor? I can't remember which one. But one of the two,
Probably both of them.
yeah, one of the two got arrested when they were performing back in the day. It's like, oh, because they had obscenity laws. Obscenity. Just think about that concept
would've
today,
been,
right?
I think Lenny Bruce, because he was the one that got arrested in New York quite a bit for making obscene jokes during that time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just imagine nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
obscenity. I just had this conversation the other day about why parents are so up in arms when they see a nipple on TV versus they'll see somebody getting their head blown off. And it's like, oh, that's nothing wrong with that. That's just the head getting
Yeah.
blown off. It's all fake. It's like, yes,
this the world is upside down. The stock market is down. The Fed's just increased the interest rates by 3/4 of a point. Gas prices at an all-time high. Unemployment is going up. Salaries are not going up. Rent is crazy. Mortgages are going up.
and how about this? And
Babies
this I
are
just saw
being
this
killed.
I just saw this tonight on Lester Holt. You can't buy a house because big corporations are buying up all the houses and renting them out.
Yep.
So
At
they're
high
getting,
prices.
right. They're giving they're paying cash for all these houses. So you're gonna probably get outbid. So what's the point of even looking for a house? But you can rent out the house that you were gonna buy
Right.
for a lot more money in rent. It's like, oh man, it sucks. Listen,
it's
I'd be
not
screwed
just
if
in
I
the
didn't buy
housing.
my house when I bought it. I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
I really would be. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
it's
you
bizarro
know,
world right now.
it's getting ready to be a buyer's market because, well, seller buyer's market right now, and it depends on the market where you are. I got a friend that's just flew into Detroit today to help his mom buy a house, and he says every time they find a house that she likes, as soon as it goes on the market,
It's
they
gone.
get 2 or 3 bids. Yeah. So, I said, yeah, you got to be quick, man. You can't think about it. You got to jump on it.
And if it's a good deal, the realtor buys it.
Yeah,
It don't.
that too.
It doesn't even hit the market, which is so nuts. And then they sit on it. If it needs work, they'll do the work and then resell it, or they'll sit on it for a couple years until it appreciates and they'll make a profit. It's like the realtor, really.
Yeah. It's the game they play. Let's welcome the baseman,
Chris Bass.
What's up, that? Chris?
No, Lee ain't gonna make it. Chris Bass. No,
Lee
Lee ain't gonna make it. Oh,
Lee!
Here.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
Oh man, I didn't know you. Oh man, it's good to see your ass, man. How you doing, Lee?
I'm alive and kicking, brother.
Yes, you are, man. Good to see you, man. I didn't recognize you at all, man. I heard somebody sound like Lee. I thought it was the DJ Roadrunner, but no, we have our fearless leader back in action, Lee Michaels. Thank you, Guru, for coming back to the program.
Well, see, the real deal is I intentionally stayed away because I didn't want you guys to have a good time on my birthday.
When is your birthday?
It was May 28th.
Yeah, see what you don't know, Buck Wheezy, that we roasted him on his birthday last year.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. That would have been a good idea this year.
Yeah,
we had people calling in from all over the country and the world.
You sure did.
And they would pop in. Look, Damon Williams was down in whatever country that Tom was hosting this big party. Yeah, we had people call in from there. I mean, it was crazy, man.
It was. Yeah, I was totally in shock.
And guess who thought of it?
The Bates. Chris. Yeah, he likes that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris started that idea. Yeah. Chris came up with the idea. Hey, it's his birthday. And we had a whole secret plot and a handshake that went along with it.
Yeah, I was totally surprised. I had no clue. Mike?
Yeah, most of the people who were invited were either walking on a cane, they had like a walker, or they rolled in a wheelchair.
Or they were already dead.
Yeah, right, exactly.
On oxygen.
That's right. That's exactly it. Well, Lee, it is actually great to have you back amongst friends. We
good to be back.
Honestly have missed you, and that's what we're saying because we're live. The other things that we've said about you cannot be rebroadcast at this time.
Good.
So
although we had great shows without you, but they ain't saying nothing.
No. See, that's okay. I watched all of them. Okay, so I know what you did. And
I was going to bring in a guy named George, and he was willing to do the show.
Okay, he'll do anything. Let me say hello. Let me say hello to my big sister B. How you doing, baby girl? I love you. I want to try to come home to Virginia and see you soon. And thanks for being supportive. That's my number one right there, boy.
When was the last time you were in Virginia when you were doing H-Salt Fish and Chip live broadcast or something?
No, that was in St. Louis.
Oh, that was in St. Louis. Okay.
The last time was what? It was last year when Corey and I was on the road with Corey, and we stopped in Virginia and we saw my sister. I hadn't seen her in a number of years at that point. So, yeah, we were there last year. It was fun. And I saw my Aunt Vivian and my cousin Deborah, and it was very good. Heartwarming.
I heard your Aunt Vivian asked about your hairline.
She probably did because she's a wise guy like that.
Is?
What's wrong with your hair, boy?
It is. Did you know your hair is disappearing in real time?
Well, I got so many Aunt Vivian stories. One day I'm gonna have to do them. Have her on here with me. She's a retired school teacher, so she's very formal. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting about the whole hairline thing? You can tell, like when a performer's on television, if their hair is going back, which season it is. I dare you go back and watch the Jeffersons. And watch Sherman Hensley. Every season he had his hair going back. So by the time season 5 was, he was like half bald.
Oh yeah.
He was kind of like me when he started, and then all of a sudden it was like he had.
It was gone. It was leaving town.
2 hands.
Back in the went back in the time.
He had a
way
4
back.
head. He had an 8 head.
Actually, I heard that the reason it was going back because when him and Wheezy would make love, she would grab the top of his head, and she kept pulling, and his hair line just kept going back.
Oh, that's wrong.
Ron, you act like you don't even believe that story.
No, I do not.
Well,
Because see,
Well,
I can't even imagine him and Weezy getting anything going on.
mainly
Wow.
because he liked boys. But
Oh,
that's a whole nother story.
ooh.
I don't know nothing about that, George.
Nope.
Sherman Henley?
neither.
Sherman
Oh.
Henley?
Really?
I didn't hear
come
I didn't know
on
anything
now.
about that. I never heard
I
that.
never heard that.
He was
No.
not. He's not into women. Come on, look it up. Don't take my word for it.
I don't want to.
I never
I
heard
don't
that
want to
one.
look up
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, has anyone heard from the professor, Reverend Miles?
I talked to him last week. He was doing his miscellaneous, hustles here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just called to check on him, see how he was doing.
Good.
So he's doing well.
Good.
He's
Miscellaneous pimping.
well, he's doing
Miscellaneous.
audio at the church.
At the church.
Buck Wheezy. So if pimping is involved, then he's doing pimping.
Well, what they
All
always
right.
say, pimping ain't easy.
Yeah.
No,
There you go.
pimping in the pulpit is even more difficult.
Hey,
Pimping ain't easy. I mean, that's a hard job. I mean, you got to
Literally.
do a lot of talking. You're trying to convince people to do things that they're not accustomed to doing, and then try to negotiate a pay plan, for what you're asked to do. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, you got
Ron used to do a lot of stuff back in the day. Was that one of them, Ron? The pimping thing?
No.
He's still pimping.
You got to negotiate real estate. What
Although-
side of the street you're going to be on, that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work.
Let me give you the history on pimping. See, back in the day,
Go ahead,
pimps used to dress up. They were really, neat and everything. They had nice cars and, the fur coats and all that. Then they went to tennis shoe pimping.
Oh,
And now, a lot of those guys, the ones that are still around, they're wheelchair pimping now.
yeah. But it's easier for them to roll up on you.
Right.
Girl,
They got
whereas
electric
you better come
wheelchairs
over here
now.
with my money.
Yeah. Well,
Although those
but-
for real, I never could figure out on the serious tip. I could never figure out why a prostitute would give her money to a man after she's finished doing her work. I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
I have an answer for that, because most of the pimps that I knew were light-skinned.
And
I mean, are you taking it offensively?
is this a racist joke?
No, it's not a joke at all. I mean, a lot of the pimps were light-skinned.
And what does that mean?
What,
I
right.
mean, I think being light-skinned, it had a power of persuasion.
You think so? I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Goldie was Goldie light skinned?
Why do you think he was called Goldie?
Oh, I never got that part.
Well,
You
No.
need to
A little
do some
young.
pimp remedial reading.
I was a little young when the Mac came out. Okay.
But you
Well-
light-skinned it now, though.
Yeah, look, back in the day when they used to have books for people to read, they used to have books that taught people how to be pimps. Iceberg
Oh.
Slim,
Yeah.
Donald Goins. There were, people that wrote books about, because pimping went all the way back to the 20s and 30s. And
Wrote
before.
books.
yeah, and a lot of those books were paperback, and they were, be available for people to try and emulate what they read.
Amazon bestsellers.
Hey,
But think about this for a minute, because
Mhm.
we all rave about Elon Musk and the electric car, and the pimp game was pretty much the same thing. It came out, it was innovative.
Mhm.
Just the mere fact that you could get someone to sell their own body and then share the proceeds with you. That was
Mhm.
ingenious.
That was pretty
Was
powerful.
it?
Brainwashing.
Yeah.
Was it ingenious?
I
But think
believe it
about
was.
Now think
Well,
about
it was done through fear, though, wasn't it?
No, they wanted to do it. But think about it. I'm finna come down your street, but the modern early era hip hop artists wanted to emulate the pimping business that they grew up hearing about.
Yeah,
in
the
their
tennis
early-
shoe pimpers.
Yeah, and then they used to have the players ball,
Yeah.
And then, so it was a
Forgot
lot of
about that, right?
carryover into the hip hop era.
Yeah, they kind of
And
like revived it.
yeah,
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Ice-T in a documentary mentioned about that. He said when he went to high school, he read about Iceberg Slim, and we just repeated and emulated what he read in the book when he went to high school, and that started his game for the image that he wanted to portray when he started to rap.
I mean, think about Snoop Dogg. All of them were emulating, the game.
Some form of it.
One of Snoop Dogg's entourage at one point in time was Bishop Don Juan.
Yeah, talked about him all the time, rapped about him the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Okay.
Did he move to California?
Yep, he's still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
He had
I
that
tell
green
you,
Cadillac, right?
I was just thinking how to describe our show to somebody who's never watched before. I'm like, oh yeah, we deal with serious social issues that really affect and hit
Pimpin' 101.
hard and affect all of
Because
Americans.
that's why they always
especially
said
African.
pimping ain't easy.
And we talking about pimping today.
Exactly.
Hey.
Keep your pimp hand strong.
Boy.
Yes.
Oh,
So, but
Speaking of
let me just
pimping,
before you go there, Lee, let me just clean it up a little bit. When they talk about pimping, it's really a form of business technique and style that they use.
Absolutely.
Just like selling drugs, supply and demand.
Yeah. So it's a business vernacular that they use when they say, well, I'm out here pimping. Because, nowadays some people will say, yeah, I'm out here, doing my pimp game, but I'm the biggest hoe I got. So that means they working themselves harder than any 9 to 5 could ever work them in order to be able to support whatever financial endeavors that they need to take care of. So
but they were supervisors, really, weren't they? Because they weren't actually turning tricks themselves. They were just supervising their staff.
To keep up with
it was the management style. It was a management style.
There you go.
Yeah,
people management
style.
You know, what side of the street are you on? Yeah. How much money you got to forecast. You're forecasting your revenue based on how many women you have on the street.
And it was
and they had to provide a little protection too.
Exactly.
Sometimes,
correct.
Get them out of jail.
And clothes, I guess attire.
Yeah.
And get them rides too when they were done for the night. They would give them
exactly.
And inspiration to keep doing it. You got to be inspired. It was almost like coaching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought it was more like threatening.
No, it was a business.
It was a combination, I think.
Yeah.
They would find naive young girls, typically from small towns, give them this dream that they're going to, be successful and don't worry about I'll take care of you. It was a form of brainwashing.
Yeah, clothes.
Yeah, and it depends on what city they were in. Like if they went to Hollywood, everybody wanted to be a star. So, and if a pimp got a hold to him, then he would make money off of them, and then they would get smart and then wind up at a casting couch. Same thing, but they went out there with the purpose in mind. But hey, everybody was in the game for something.
But I mean, casting couch.
And then the females who got in it became madams.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, they became madams. So they were like the female, version of the game.
This is not what I would have ever thought we'd be talking about, but good talk.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's a management style. I had to clean it up, because we didn't want to leave it there. I wanted the people to understand what we talk about, because like I said, we had books that we read about this stuff back in the 60s and the 70s, and everybody, wanted to understand what the game was about, because you didn't want to be a square. You definitely didn't want to be a square, So once you found out, and then you realize that everybody couldn't be that.
Right.
Because you got to have a certain mentality in order to be able to be that.
Well, Ron, you just hit the nail on the head. It brings us full circle to what Lee was talking about in the intro of Street News Now, talking about our former president, number 45, Donald Trump. And he had the biggest pimp game in the current time and place.
Totally. He pimped the media.
He pimped the media.
Yeah, that's
children.
true.
I called him from day one when he was running for the presidency. And I said he's a media pimp. He doesn't have to do anything except just be crazy and just say
Yeah.
stupid stuff, and people eat it up. The cameras follow him, the microphones, and then he gets inside the brains of the weak-minded people, and those are the people that came out there and tore up the Capitol building.
I mean, he treated Pence like a first-class hooker.
Right.
Worse.
But you know what? But Pence
Yeah.
knew what he was getting into and did it voluntarily.
Well,
So I feel sorry
but so
for
did
him.
the women
Yep.
of the night.
Yeah.
They knew what they were getting into.
But they went along with
Did
it.
they?
But they went along
Did
with
they?
it.
Did they?
Yes.
I don't know if they did necessarily.
Absolutely.
At least
Come on.
not in the beginning.
Do you know you don't know whether you spreading your legs to make money or not? Stop.
I'm saying I don't know if they,
But see, they
because
had-
they might have been sold a bill of goods.
But
It's like, that's just that's just what people say about it.
Most of them were on the streets, coming from small towns, going to a big town, looking for that dream, that big success.
They were naive, in other
They
words.
they were naive and they were stuck out there. And the street pimp says, "Oh, she's got potential. Let me go talk to her."
Like that movie.
so
What
the
was
first-
the name of that movie? With the white girl from the kids TV show and blonde hair, badass body too. And she went to Vegas, got turned out, and next thing you know, she was hooking. What was the name of that
Well,
movie?
That's pretty typical. I don't know.
That's
but
the
that's
scenario.
Dream- the way it
Not
works.
Dream Girls.
I think we're talking about Pence.
Showgirls. Showgirls was the
Showgirls.
movie.
Showgirls,
Just about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
so-
think we're
so- but
talking
that's
about
the way it
I think
happens.
we're talking about Pence right here. I mean,
Right.
what
We got
a
pimped.
correlation of conversation that we brought 360 in reference to. Now all of a sudden the pimp is putting the pressure on the hooker and he's trying to back out of the deal. He didn't back out of the deal when Trump asked him to be his running mate.
Right. Exactly.
Now, y'all remember the hook on that, right? He went all the way to Indianapolis and found Pence, and everybody felt comfortable with Trump's choice of Pence because Pence was an elected official that
Former
knew,
governor.
that knew the system and would be able to help Trump.
With the
because-
Kind of
credibility thing.
neutralize him.
Yeah, he didn't know the system. See, Trump came in with a business
Right.
mentality of trying to run the government like he would run one of his businesses in the ground. And Pence was supposed to be the voice of reason, the voice of wisdom,
Yeah.
to help him navigate through Washington, D.C. politics.
But did he really have any intention on listening to Pence?
And he did not
No,
listen to
no.
Pence.
No,
He did
no,
not.
absolutely
No.
not.
Or anybody
that-
for that matter?
No,
Would the pimp be listening to the hooker?
Probably.
not only that, he was a narcissist. His ego was bigger than the state of California, and he knew more than anybody else. And if you didn't do what he said to do, he would just fire you and get somebody else to do it.
Well,
And
think
I know
about this
some
for a
PDs
minute.
like
I mean,
that.
the game recognizes game. Okay, here's a guy that was paying politicians
Mhm.
before he officially became a politician. So he knew their weaknesses already.
Right.
That's right.
He already knew their weaknesses. Anybody that has the ability to take their name and turn it into a marketing business. Most of the buildings, because I can't give you a finite number, most of the buildings that Donald Trump's name is on, he doesn't own it. He licensed his name
Right.
Yep.
Branding.
That's right.
Mhm.
and can show the success when you call it Trump Tower or Trump Hotel or the work that he did in Atlantic City with the casinos. The rest was history. Why wouldn't you believe him being successful? He had you under hypnosis. You can't deny it.
Good salesperson.
But also
Yeah,
the
great.
thing about and I like what you talked about the whole thing, the correlation of pimping and what Trump was doing. The thing about Trump was he got into a party that didn't know who the hell they were. They had no identity whatsoever. They had no leadership, no nothing. Everybody was like scraggling around doing, random independent stuff. So again, the party itself before Trump got there, no spine, no backbone. Again, you let an outside party like, the Tea Party come in and run in everything inside the Republican Party. That means that you have no identity whatsoever. So here comes Trump as the pseudo leader, someone they can admire, someone they can give them to the right path, about pimping. When you pimp and you talk to a young lady, you're going into the mind game, not just the physical, but the mind. And so the same thing with Ted Cruz, the same thing with Mitch McConnell. I'm sorry, bitch, and the rest of them. They all fall in lock and step because they don't know who the hell they are. All of them fell the hook, line, and sinker because they wanted a father figure. Yeah, even a cult figure, if you think about it.
You know what's so great about what you're saying, and not to cut you off.
No, sure, go right ahead.
But you hit the, once again, and I don't want to use this over and over again, but you just did it too. You hit the nail on the head because the Republican Party was trying to escape the racism supremacy, even though they knew that the constituency represented that, but they didn't want that on their hands. Yeah. And like you said, Donald Trump came in and got them away from that. Omarosa, he brings her into the White House. I mean, he had Vernon Jordan. He had relationships with African Americans across the country.
But then there's the Make America White Again.
But he didn't say that. He said, "Make America Great Again." Once again,
yeah. Well, it was code.
It was
code. Everybody kind of
knew. Oh yeah, that's code. And he stole that from Ronald Reagan.
Right.
Yep.
What, Reagan said that again?
He ran on that. But see, his meaning of it was a little different. Yeah. His meaning was a little bit different. What he did was woke up the living dead. The people that had become quiet, complacent, laid back, not outspoken. And there was a lot of those hateful, mean-spirited people laying in the underbrush.
Kind of smart too, if you think about it.
Well, yeah. And the people that gave him, I don't think he came up with the idea. He's not that damn smart.
Well, probably not.
But there are people around him, like what was the one that went to jail?
Manchin? Not Manchin. Manafort.
Manafort. People like them. And Giuliani and all these guys got him to thinking, and they showed him some research that says, "Hey, here are the people that you can bring in."
Bannon actually did.
Bannon.
Yeah, because he had the rag sheet that was detecting. Because Lee, what you're saying is absolutely correct. The thing of it is, they weren't dead. They just had nobody representing him because it wasn't cool to represent.
He was their voice. He was their voice.
They're like, wait a minute, no, we can't do that.
Speaking of dead, is Giuliani still alive, or is he just walking around looking like he's dead? Because he looks like hell warmed over. Boy, I tell you, he must have a harder life.
Well, not only that, he's in the hot seat right now. You know, the one thing that this hearing has done is pointed the finger at all of the people that are definitely going to have to make atonement for their part that they played, which led to January 6th. And if you remember, he was one of the first people who they went into his office and his home and snatched records.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was one of the first people.
That's when he started looking real messed up.
Oh man.
And his whole thing was like, "How dare you do this to me? Don't you know I'm best friends with the president?" They like, "Yeah, okay. Yeah, right."
You're going down with him.
If he knew what he was going to look like when he was young, if he could look at the future and see him looking that up, he'd be like, "Okay, kill me now."
Yeah, like, no, but you know, and rightfully so, man, because this whole group of people, Eastman, all of these idiots that are now being identified and pointed out. I mean, these are just the first 3 episodes of this hearing. Yeah. And they have gone deep. They've done deep dives. And I tell you, I'll tell you what's funny. Oh my God, this is so funny.
I need a good laugh. Come on, Ron.
Yeah, the guy that used to be governor of New Jersey, what was his name?
Chris Christie.
Yeah, Christie.
Very doughboy.
Yeah, Christie is like, I told him not to do it. I told him not to do it.
Yeah, but he was sucking up to him the whole time. So no.
He was doing both.
While eating donuts.
He was going to every event, and he was like, "Yeah, you got my vote." He got mad when he didn't get a job in the cabinet. Yeah, I mean the whole 9 yards.
Boy.
And then all of a sudden, he's doing commentary on ABC now.
Yeah, I saw that.
telling it
Oh,
all.
come on,
I mean,
really?
he's singing like a bird.
Just to be on camera. It's like nobody wants to see your big ass on camera anyway.
Oh man, I told him, don't do it. Don't do it. I
You know,
tell
though,
you, boy.
he could make a great cartoon. Okay?
Well, he is a cartoon. There's no offense to
He's
Fred
a-
Flintstone.
He's a
Right,
little
right,
cartoon.
exactly.
I mean, really, and they call for what it is. Here's the thing: we all work in the industries. If the ass kissing gets you a higher position, then the smooching was worth it. But if the ass kissing didn't work, then why are you still kissing ass? Go
If
back
it
to
gets
Chris
you
Christie.
nothing
Just to
but
get
brown
on-
lips.
Just to
don't
get
know.
on camera.
My
But
God,
imagine
I
that
can-
would be a great cartoon. A cartoon with Giuliani, him, Bannon. I mean, they are all like walking cartoons. And
But
Mike
Bannon
Pence.
Bannon ain't in it. He ain't even worried about it.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking of the comedy they could.
But
come
you're
up
right.
with.
You're right. You're right. Because these guys, once they open the doors, like I said before, they weren't dead. It's just they had no audience.
Except
Because
Giuliani.
nobody wanted to be
They had no
it
voice.
wasn't
Yeah.
cool to be associated with that. I'm sorry,
Right.
lady.
Exactly. They had no voice.
Yeah, they had no
And
voice.
he became their voice. He says it's okay, to be outspoken and racist, and punch him in the face. I'll take care of the legal fees. You remember when he was saying stuff like that?
Yeah.
Racists
back-
are people too.
He
Back
said
in the
that.
old days, we'd take him out back and whip him.
Yep, he
So-
said that at a border patrol graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wonder, and this is a serious question, okay? I wonder if racists, A, know that they're racist, and B, if they think there's anything wrong with it.
they know, they believe that it's about power and control and money. And even a poor white man thinks he's better than all of us on this screen right now.
Right.
Okay. He doesn't want you to have any success because he's not successful. And he
There you
thinks
go.
that you're taking away opportunities from him.
And you are.
So, in other words, no, he
But
doesn't
you're
think it's
not.
wrong.
You're not, but that's his perception.
right.
He has a better chance than we do. Okay? Because he has white privilege.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He
But it's
doesn't
also-
want to.
Yeah,
He doesn't
yeah.
want to. He doesn't want to tell you that. He's not going to come out and say that. I've heard a couple say that. Well, I'm white. I'm supposed to be treated fairly.
Right.
Okay, I've had people say that. to me.
Entitlement.
Entitlement, absolutely. So that's part of it, and the other part of it is they're scared to death of losing power and control. Okay, because it's already been projected that in the next 20 years or so, that the white population is going to be a minority,
Yeah.
and
But
the Asian population. See, they're worried about Hispanics and black, but that ain't where you focus on to be. It's the Asian
yeah.
pop, that whole Asian rim
But just because there's so many
collectively
Asians.
is going to
Yeah,
be,
there's so many
it's going,
Asians.
yeah,
And
it's
there's
gonna
nothing
be-
wrong. There's nothing
They're
wrong.
going to
with
be
it.
in control.
I don't care about
Yeah.
that.
Now,
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all because most of the Asians that I know are actually good people and are fair. And whereas some of them may be a little on the racist, or at least their parents were racist. That's another thing. If you meet like an Indian person, there's South Asian, I guess. They may not be racist at all, but their parents, woo. But
Well, it's tradition.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
live in their own little bubble, and they want to keep their family in
Right,
that
right.
same thing. And that's
And you find that with
tradition.
a lot of you find that with a lot of cultures too. That
Of course.
as the generations go on, they become more Americanized, and unfortunately, though, they start adopting a lot of American values, which not all of them are good, because some of them
True.
tend to lean very materialistic. A lot of them get fairly materialistic and shallow and that sort of thing. So maybe a good balance. I don't know. I'm not Indian or Asian, but I would think that it would be nice to have some sort of balance. But every race, every culture has their problems, especially in America where there are different generations, and every
True.
generation is a little different. So
yeah.
I can say that most foreigners have typically a strong family unit And here in America, you know, I can speak from a black perspective. It's not as strong, at
We
least
don't.
from my
Right.
yeah. We don't seem to
don't.
have that family unit thing. For example, in some cultures, the elder, the oldest person in the family, is looked up to and honored, not disrespected because they're old and sitting over in the corner. So senior grandpa or grandma or whatever she is or he is, they are respected. And if that person spoke on a topic or whatever, that was it.
Because they had wisdom.
Yeah,
And they respected
exactly.
that.
And
Yeah.
now, you know, oh man, you old school. I don't want to hear that bullshit, you know.
Well, it's because we, not we, but Americans worship youth because we've gotten to be somewhat of a shallow, what's not necessarily shallow, maybe shallow is the word, society where, youth, they're young and they're creative and they're good looking. I mean, we've gotten to the point where looks are so important because everybody on TV is good looking, and that's what we look at and we worship that.
Now,
And it's
maybe
like,
because well, you know, I never thought about it from a looks perspective. I thought about it
You
from
should.
disrespect more than anything. Because when I was growing up, I would never think about saying some of the things to my mom.
that they
my
actually
dad,
say out
my
loud,
grandmother.
right?
Yeah, I mean, like just total disrespect, no
Yeah.
regard.
And
So
the
I
white
think that
kids are the
starts
ones
right
that
there.
start that. The white kids have no filter when it comes to their parents, you know?
Yeah,
Well, shit,
yeah.
mom. It's like, I could never say some of the things that they say to
No,
their parents. It's like,
no,
and they call their parents by their first names. It's like, oh.
yeah, right. See, that doesn't. I can't process that.
But I think that's part of this whole Western culture that is. So I don't necessarily think that it's just blacks or whites or just non-Asians or I think it's just Americans in general, and not necessarily just America, but Western. And you know what's really bad about Western culture? It's slowly, or maybe not even slowly anymore, it's creeping around the world and affecting different places around the world that you'd really be surprised at. And
Yep.
that people aren't happy about it either. But,
But let's go back for a
times
minute,
change.
Buck. Let's go back for a minute.
What's up, Barry?
Right.
That's my guy
Barry
right
Pope?
there. No, not the Pope. This is a guy. He worked with me at 99X back in New York.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah. Great guy.
Let's go-
Hey,
let's-
Barry.
I'm sorry.
Let's look at something though that you guys touched on and we kind of slid by it indirectly. When we talk about culture and the success of quote unquote white America, like we said in the beginning, was to tear it down as far as our means of representation in society versus theirs, because they clearly wanted the leadership. Now, if you go back and you look at Indian, Mexican, Asian, so on and so forth, Spanish, whatever you want to call it, once again, even though they may have been picking fruit and vegetables, or they may have been doing whatever they were doing, the culture stood, like Lee said, within that person. The founding father was the leader.
Mhm.
But now you go into America and you take the black man who is the leader of his home and you shame him. You put him in a position where he
that's a
cannot
bad thing,
lead his family successful. And see, that was the downtrodden part of the whole situation when it came to racism, because that's exactly what it was meant to do. Let's go back to slavery, when you had a family that they went and sold the children, the mother, and the father to different people. They just separated them. They just totally separated them.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, divide and conquer. And it
Kill
was
the family. Kill the family unit.
They killed the family unit. I hate to say this, but they were pretty successful at getting it done. And it made it.
But the ironic part is that that's not even what they were trying to do. For them, it was just we were property.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
it was a combination of both. Yeah, they were trying to do it. They were smart enough to see that they had competition because once again, remember when they came over in the three little boats, 60 to 100 of those people died who were with them because they didn't have any way to take care of the sick. They didn't know how to feed
which
themselves. When they
boats are you
got
talking about? You talking about the
Christopher
Nina, the
Columbus
Pinta, and the San Marino?
and the
Yeah.
Santa Maria, right? When they got here, the Indians knew how to grow vegetables. They knew how to take the skin off a buffalo and make a teepee, i.e., a house. They didn't know any of that. They didn't know how to live off the land.
Off the land, right?
And the thing of it is, the Indians wasn't having it. You got to give the Indians some credit. Now they turned around and duped them some kind of way and got them still on reservations. And that part I don't understand.
Disease,
yeah, of course,
disease, and alcohol,
and alcohol,
because they had
right.
low tolerance to alcohol. Yeah,
But they knew how to live off the land.
yeah. It was their
As a
land.
matter of fact, there were Africans already on the soil here in North America. They were here as well. So see, the whole thing about Christopher Columbus discovering America is actually not true.
It's a lie from the pit of hell.
How are you going to discover something that already
It was
exists?
Somebody
people were
already
already
lived on
here.
it. Right. Yeah.
The Africans knew how to get on boats. They could make a boat and get on and come over here. They didn't have the big boats like Christopher and Columbus and them came full of food and all this kind of stuff. And they trying to have Thanksgiving and they brought their jewelry and then they showed the Indians something shiny and they traded for corn and that kind of stuff. They didn't need any of that.
Right.
You know, also with the horror stories that we all can read and have seen about slavery, and I discovered this about 15 years ago. Someone put my coattail to. I was watching a documentary about slavery, and he talked about, as Mike said, about separating families and selling them. Also, what they did was they would take the man and also give him what they call bronco busting. So the white slave master would rape this man in front of everybody else to take away his manhood, exactly. And then when you witness that, if you are a mother and a son and a daughter and everybody else, that takes away the images of leadership, the images of being the head of the household, just destroyed everything. And
I have never heard that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he preaching right now, dog. I heard it 1,000 times. That's exactly. Yeah, it was literally embarrassing for him as the man. Imagine master comes in and rapes you
in front of everybody.
Yeah, your whole family unit.
Emasculated. Yeah.
And non-family Africans.
Yeah.
And master wasn't gay. He did it to destroy you.
Oh, master, like male master.
Yes. Yeah. The plantation owner.
The white master, yes.
I was thinking white, like the wife.
No. The plantation owner would
anally
rape him.
That's gay. Was he gay?
Well,
was master gay?
Well, we can't be there to say whether he was gay or not, but it clearly tore families up. And that was my whole point. See, when we lost family structure, which we had in Africa, we lost it when we got to America.
Yes, that's right.
Gone.
Yeah.
And we're picking up the pieces slowly but surely, but we still don't have it.
Long way to go.
Mm-hmm. Can I circle back to what Buck asked a question about racism being very highly motivated in white communities and families? One of the
what did I say? What was the question? What did I say? I don't remember what I said.
Well, let me finish my statement and it'll come back to you.
Right.
But you were talking about racism, and one of the points of racism that came out very notable was that young man who drove to a black community and opened fire on all of those black people, just a couple of weeks ago.
The grocery store.
Yep. And when he accidentally shot one of the white clerks that was on duty in that store, he apologized, said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shoot you." Okay. And then continued his massacre of black people. That is the ideology of young white folks and how they are thinking today.
Not all of them, though, Ron. I mean, that was
Well,
one crazy white boy.
Yeah, but you just can't say that's just one. We don't know how crazy and how racist they are until they act on it. Okay,
Good point.
You got 5,000 to 6,000 white folks that tried to storm the Capitol because they felt like they could do that, and they acted on what they thought they needed to do to preserve
what
the
they were
country.
told to do.
Right, to preserve the country.
Directed.
Yes, we're gonna, so these same people that are hitting what Tom used to say. He used to have a segment on the show back in the day, hitting racism.
I remember that.
Okay, so then people would call and report things that they see that white folks are doing in their white privilege towards people of color, whether it's Asian, Indian, Black, Mexican, or whatever. Just like when Donald Trump went down there to that scenario we just mentioned, graduating class of Border Patrol, okay, and tell them if you rough them up, it's okay. Okay, so now you just empowered a whole graduating class to go out and commit criminal acts against Mexicans. Okay, and Donald Trump, his whole entire presidency, he targeted attacking Mexicans. We're gonna build a wall and keep all those criminal Mexicans out of here. Okay.
Yeah, he was good at framing certain people, cultures as being negative or bad. You know, they're savages. They're coming here. They're going to murder, rape, and pillage and all that. But he never really talked about any Europeans.
No.
You ever notice that?
No.
That's true.
Never.
You know, I hate talking about Trump.
He embraced Europeans. He embraced Putin. He embraced that little mental midget in North Korea.
I want to forget about him.
Well, you can't. He has carved his name in a stone in history.
We keep bringing him up.
Good,
Not us,
bad, or
just in general, the media.
Yeah,
But
good, bad,
Lee
or
is
indifferent.
correct. They got to get him.
But the problems that he started are perpetually still going on.
Yeah,
they haven't stopped,
and it will continue. It's not going. He put oil or gas on the fire, and it's going to take a while to put that out. And I probably won't live long enough to see it, but I pray that one day the horrible, mean-spirited, garbage-minded people will just stop, and maybe in time they will. Or yeah, that's it. I'm about to say, in time maybe they will die off. But the problem is when you see these 18-year-olds going around doing the stuff that they're doing, you know. And I saw a clip on, I don't know what social media was on, but it was a military guy that kind of put it all together. This guy down in Texas. He was 18 years old. He had over $9,000 worth of guns and ammunition. Didn't have a job. Where did he get the money from? Where did he get the knowledge, the money, that's just mind-boggling to me. I don't understand how that happened. Did he do a GoFundMe, or did he rob a bank, or did he have a bunch of friends that gave him money? I mean, I don't know. How do you listen? I can't figure out how to put together $9,000 sometimes.
I'm about to say, I'll get some great looking camera equipment for that kind of money.
Right, and do something positive with it.
Well, a lot of the older whites, respectfully, are living vicariously through these guys. And so it could be them giving them, going back to the guy in Buffalo, the parents, from what I'm hearing, had him sell the guns and he went back and bought them back. How was that?
I saw that.
You see what I'm saying? So we don't know what kind of money was exchanged.
Right.
He's 18 years old. He had the ability to go pay $4,000 or $5,000 to get some guns back that were sold. Well, what's the first question is, how did he get them in the first place?
Yep.
See, that's the thing that I said the week.
back.
Yeah, that's the thing that I said the week it came out. The first thing I wanted the news channels to do was go to his house. We need to see where an 18, he only been on the planet 18 years. I understand that the law says a man in the country is grown at 18. Bullshit. We need to go to his house.
Nope.
That's the first thing. If I'd have been over CNN or MSNBC or even Fox, I'd have been sending a news crew to the house.
Now Fox don't want to do that. There are promoters. If you notice, I didn't check today, but for each one of the Senate hearings of January 6th hearings, they didn't cover it.
Nope.
No, because it's going to implement them.
Yep.
In some kind of way.
Right. Not only that, they are on there talking about what Joe Biden is not doing, and they're talking about
his approval
laptop.
rating is down.
Exactly. The economy,
get out of
and
here
the
with
gas
that.
prices. And listen, we already know all of that. But the things that are happening with our economy today, Joe Biden did not create those problems. The problems were created during the previous administration. The Fed held the interest rates down, let the inflation go rampant, and they talked about it. They said, hey, we're going to have to eventually, do this. And I'm sure President Trump talked to the Federal Reserve and say, look, man, don't keep it down. Keep it down. It's making me look good. And, you go ahead and rape and pillage and make all the money that you can, work with me. Come on, work with me here, okay? And they all made a lot of money. They didn't lose any money doing that. When the interest rates was a half a point, they didn't lose money. They made money. The oil companies have made, I forget the exact number, $30 billion profit in the first quarter.
That's a whole nother story right there. Oh, goodness.
Okay.
They are raping the hell out of us.
Yeah. They're not losing money. And by the end of this year, they're going to make, $90 billion or whatever. A lot of freaking money.
With a lot of their refineries down.
Yeah. Plus, there are 9,000 opportunities, licenses that have been granted to the various oil companies to drill new oil refinery not refineries, but drill more. 9,000 they have not used, and they're talking about they want more. And Biden said it. He says, look, use the 9,000 you already have that you've had for years.
Yeah, that they approved already.
Give me one of those.
But that's the problem with a free market, though.
Shit.
A free market, they can rape the American people, and the American people can't do nothing about it.
Hey, you know what you did?
Asks,
but you can.
Biden asks them to start ramping up production and all that, and all they got to do is say, "Well, sorry, Mr. Biden. Right now, our refineries are down for maintenance," and that's what they're saying right now.
What's really funny about what Buck just said is ingenious. It's the only time that racism doesn't matter. Is when they're taking advantage of the American people.
Yeah, they don't care.
The black versus white goes out the door.
Yeah. Right.
Every freaking person that's a citizen of the United States, you're going to be duped in the booty.
And we dumb Americans still keep on paying it.
Yeah, keep
it's
on
like,
doing
why don't you stay your ass at home like you did during the pandemic, fool? Instead of paying, like in California, most of my family's in California. And they're always, and friends and family always posting about how high gas prices. One gas station in LA charging $9 a gallon. I'm like, who's paying
I haven't seen that one, but
who's paying that? If you're paying $9 a gallon, that's your fault. Stay your ass at home. Take public transportation. Listen, gas prices. I met this girl in college when I first got to college, and she was telling me she had done a lot of traveling around the world, and she said people around the world, and particularly in Europe, they don't have cars and drive all the time everywhere. She said gas prices are. This is back in the 80s. Gas prices are like $5 a gallon. Back then, she said they take public transportation or they take bikes, trains, public transportation. Walk. She said, they don't do that out there. I'm like, wow.
They don't do that anywhere.
Literally, I could imagine.
Their communities are small and close together. If you tell somebody in Los Angeles to get on a damn bike, you might not see them for 3 days.
Well, but you know what? With electric bikes nowadays, that's not necessarily as much of a thing. And scooters and that sort of, that sort of thing. They can get around. But and LA has a train system. It may not be the greatest in the world. It may not be the greatest in the world. Yeah, but
the fingerprint of the footprint is not good.
Right, but there are buses now, and LA is an unusual situation because it's so spread out, and they didn't really plan for the whole. They're
about 50 to 75 years behind.
Well, but you got to think about something, guys. The infrastructure of New York Transit and these cities, Chicago, New York,
New Jersey,
Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. At the time that they put these rail systems into place, they had room to set the infrastructures to go underground and everything else. You don't have it because most of that ground has been covered with buildings and housing and everything else that's out there.
And the cost of that land is so expensive now.
That's what the problem
is. Prohibitive, right.
But it takes us
for new systems.
Yeah, for new systems. That's what I'm saying, to broaden the system. So the thing of it is, it's the same thing with what Lee and I do with Uber and Lyft and this whole 9 yards. People are utilizing these services. I picked up a lady the other day. It took me 7 minutes to get to her, and she went 2 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
True story, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah,
I was just looking at the thing, and I was like, she just went 2 minutes, as a matter of fact, and had me wait on her. She wasn't standing outside. These people are not standing. Lee'll tell you, they ain't standing outside. You got to pull up, and then there's a little counter that comes up in the app telling you that you got to, if you want to get paid for that, you got to wait at least 5 minutes. And then if they don't come out in 5 minutes, you can cancel. Right. What are you going to get, $2?
Right. Exactly. Well, that's about all you were going to make on that ride anyway.
Right. But I'm just saying, the ride paid $7.
Okay.
I got $7 out of the deal, but it was just the mere fact that I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Going back to what you said, Buck, in reference to people walking, electric bike, using all the other things that they can do, they will sit right there and wait.
America.
These scooters, that they have now, they're real popular here in Southern California. And I think they're getting pretty big in other places.
They're big in Atlanta.
Like in the college communities, these kids take the damn scooters into their dorms or wherever they live.
I can see that.
And what they've figured out is they don't have to worry about charging them because they are part of the charging crew. They set themselves up. They've signed up to actually charge. So they get the charging cable and everything from the various companies. So they just take it in the house and charge it up. Next day they get on it, go to the college campus, take it into their classroom or whatever. And so it's like their own property.
Yeah. And then, and they're not, you could buy one too for yourself that is not that expensive.
You can. Yeah.
A guy, when I worked at V103, they had a guy here in Atlanta. One of the guys that was in charge of our digital platform, he bought one. It was like $300. I was like, dude, you paid $300 for this little piece of. He was like, dude, I take it everywhere, and he bought it because he lived a certain distance from his house to the MARTA train, which is our version of BART or Metro or whatever, and so it got him to the Metro quicker. And then when he got off at the station's train station, he would just zip right on. He'd pass me by someday. I'd be walking. He'd be like, "Hey, what's that, a buck?" And he'd just keep on going. I'm like, look at that. It was like $300. I was like, you paid $300 for that? But now it's like you can get one for $150 something or whatever. And people ride those things all the time.
Yeah,
like,
and Amazon's selling the electric bikes. I'm thinking about getting one.
Electric bikes, right?
Yeah,
right,
the electric bike
right.
is hot right now.
Yeah, especially for
you
fat
can
asses.
pick it up, carry it in your dorm, carry it in the classroom.
Lazy people.
And they'll go up to 8 miles on a charge.
Wow.
So some of them go further than that. Yeah,
some of them will go further than that.
30, 40 miles. Yeah.
Although, you know what, when I went to Amsterdam, and this was in the, 2012, 2013, 2012, I think it was, there were the roads are really narrow in Amsterdam, and there are a lot of cars, but there are rows and rows and rows of bikes. Everybody there takes bikes. They ride their bikes everywhere because there's just not that much room for cars, especially to park a car. I was like, bikes? They're like, yeah. I mean, not electric either. I mean, these were like, regular.
Just
I
regular
need some
bike.
exercise bike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either, but not for lazy Americans.
I haven't seen the $10 a gallon of gas here in LA yet. I've seen it $8, and I'm on Gas Buddy, which is an app. There's a Chevron
diesel.
station.
Hey, bro, he's saying diesel. And you know what's funny?
Diesel is about the same price as premium.
Premium, no,
gas,
it's higher. No, it's higher.
Premium,
diesel's always been higher
than premium.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is that
not always.
Maybe not always, but hey, I thought about getting a diesel.
Back in the 80s, diesel fuel was anywhere from 90 cents to $1 a gallon.
80s.
Which was
I
less
wasn't
than
even born in the 80s.
Like, go on, leave the 80s.
Which was less than regular gas.
No, but I started to get a Volkswagen.
It's more expensive.
It used to be really big in Europe. A diesel engine used to be big in Europe. And I thought about getting a Volkswagen diesel, like not a Jetta, is it a Passat. And when I saw that diesel fuel, even though they were more, the car was more efficient on diesel. It would get like 40 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, the fuel was higher.
But the fuel was so much higher. I'm like, that's some bullshit. I am not going to pay that much for food. It's more than premium. I'm like, no. I don't
but see, you didn't work out the analytics. Everybody that, going back to what you said, that I knew, a friend of mine, he was the assistant chief engineer down in Columbia at the Big DM, Trent. And he had a diesel VW Bug. And everybody was like, that fuel is high. But see, those guys, those smart asses, they figured out the mileage versus how much it cost. And the math made sense.
But you can get a hybrid. But see, when hybrids came out, you can get a hybrid that will do the same thing, give you 50 miles. Like the new Camry hybrid from like 2018 up gets 50 miles to the gallon.
What fuel does it burn?
Regular. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had a Malibu 2016 was a hybrid. I love that car. It blew a rod, and then it sat in the shop for 10 months.
Damn.
And GM had to end up buying it back from me because they didn't have the parts, and they stopped making it. They don't make that one anymore.
They had supply chain problems in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep. Whoever there was a mounting bracket or something that had something to do with the engine. The part was no longer available. I said to the dealer, I said, "Damn it, go to the junkyard and find one."
And that's when the Malibus had gotten hot too. They had always looked kind of lame before that.
Yeah.
And then like that year, around that year, they got kind of hot. It's like, oh man, oh shit.
Yeah, it was a good looking car.
And the Impala started looking kind of hot.
Yeah, it was very similar to the Malibu. Yeah. Yep. Well, listen, I think that we're gonna have to hunker down, if you will, and realize that gas prices are going to continue to go up for a while. They actually went down here in California, LA, a few cents the other day because I paid $6.39 at an off-brand gas station called M&G, G&M, and
never heard of that.
Less than a quarter of a mile away at the mobile station, it was $7.69.
Does anybody use Gas Buddy to go try to find the best prices? I would think, Mike, you would do that.
I do it. Yeah, I do
you're
it.
driving. Yeah.
Yeah, I use it.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I do too. And see, my problem is I have to burn premium all the time.
Are you serious?
Well, you know, he has an El Capolero, you know, because that's what he had when he was a pimp. So, you know, that's the El Dorado with the pimp kit on it, with the tire on the back and the emblem on the hood, that kind of stuff. You know how Ron was.
If I was still driving
in the back, digging the scene with a gangster lead.
If I was still driving my Porsche, I would have to put in. I'd have to put in premium.
Yeah, no,
that thing is in the garage and it's gonna stay there.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. We were talking about diesel and the price of diesel. At one time, diesel was cheaper way to go at one time. But then when they found out they can raise the price of diesel to be the same price as regular, it never went back down again. They just kept it there. And
because most people who use diesel are probably businesses. You know, with the big truckers
and boats.
Well, Mercedes-Benz used to have a diesel series, and
I had one.
You know, quite a few other manufacturers came out with diesel motors that were.
But diesel is much bigger on the consumer side, much bigger in other parts of the world, particularly Europe, than it is here. So it's like diesels really didn't sell that well here. That's why most people don't have diesels. You don't see them a lot. In Europe, though, you see them all the time.
Well, you know, in the beginning, they were too noisy, too. A lot of people didn't want them. I had a Mercedes 240D. 240D, and then I drove that for a couple of years, and then I bought a 300D, which was a diesel. And the price of the diesel fuel then was cheaper than gas.
Right.
Then I bought a damn yacht, and it had 1,000-gallon tank on it. It would cost me anywhere from $900 to $1,000 to fill up. Today, that would be over $5,000 because it was 90 cents to $1. During that time, what?
Did you just say you bought a freaking yacht?
Yeah.
You didn't know Lee had a yacht?
Yeah. You know what? You didn't have to say that shit, okay?
He's
rich ass.
He's making a point.
Oh, goodness. How rich are you, Lee?
He used to call me while he went. Where did you go from, like New York all the way around the thing to LA or something?
No, I didn't go to LA. I picked up the boat at the factory in North Carolina.
Right.
Took it up the East Coast. I took it up the East Coast, through the Erie Canal, up over Michigan, brought it down and took across Lake Michigan into Chicago.
Yeah.
And then
I have a yacht.
And then I went from Chicago down the Illinois River to the Mississippi River to the Ohio River to the Tombigbee Waterway out to the Gulf of Mexico, and kept the boat down in Florida in the wintertime.
A yacht.
Yeah.
So
I can tell you that if I had that same boat today, it would cost me over $5,000 to fill it up.
Wow.
Then it was $1,000.
Which would be nothing for you, Lee. I'm rich. Whatever.
Well, no, it would. But you know, and that if I was traveling, I could go about 10 or 11 hours at cruise speed and burn up a tank of fuel.
In your yacht.
Yeah.
Today, that would be $5,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Let me help those people that have diesel burning engines out a little bit. There's a thing called biodiesel that people underestimate and don't pay attention to. Biodiesel is very easy to come by. If you are in the hood, in any major city, they have all of these fish and chicken places that fry chicken wings all day and all night. So you can capture that cooking oil from these places, and all you have to do is filter it, and you can burn it in a diesel engine.
In your yacht.
And it's called biodiesel.
The only thing about that, Ron, is seagulls will be following you around because you smell like fish.
But look,
you're on the boat and somebody go, "You smell chicken."
You're 30 miles off coast.
But the good thing about it, it wouldn't cost you $6 a gallon to get it. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you can have the seagulls following you if you getting biodiesel and you getting to travel in your yacht, as Buck would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think about owning a yacht today, or
Yeah.
even.
Who did
even
you sell it to, Lee? Do you remember who you sold it to? LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
Doug Banks.
Don't make him tell it. Don't make him tell it.
No,
why
I
am
won't tell
I
it, though.
not surprised?
Yeah, Doug got the bug and wanted because I moved to California and the boat was on the East Coast, so it was just sitting there most of the time. I might have gone out there a couple of times a year, but when you're working, you don't have time, and it was too far away to just go out there for the weekend.
Why did you bring it to Chicago?
That's where I was living at the time.
Why did you bring the yacht to Chicago? That's water.
That's where he was living.
That's where I was living.
Why wasn't the yacht there?
It was. In the wintertime, you got to take it out of the water. So I would take it down to Florida.
Oh.
Yeah,
You didn't never owned a yacht before. You
I
would
never
know that.
owned a yacht. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
A yacht.
It's
Boy,
just
the
a big
things
ass
you
boat.
learn.
That's all.
Just the things you learned.
Well, see, I was raised on the water in Norfolk, Virginia Beach. That whole Tidewater area on the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic Ocean.
Were you married when you had that yacht?
Yeah.
What a waste. Do you realize how many women you could have had on that yacht with you?
No.
What a waste. What's the point in having a yacht and you're married?
Just
saying.
Have
was
fun with your
already
family.
married.
Don't
Right.
answer that, Lee. Don't answer that.
I would take my family out for
Don't answer
vacations
that,
and what have you.
Yeah. Buck is thinking about how many hip hop movies he could do on that boat.
Exactly.
Hey.
Ron, you are a mind reader. I was thinking the same thing. Lee didn't go from making a hip hop single to getting the yacht. This was business.
Right. I mean,
he had a way of life, okay?
He had a way of life. And he experienced it. Think about this, Buck. And I know you're being facetious in your own way, but think about this when you can do something where you can take your family and travel. And you're not on a bus, you're not in a car, you're not just flying on a plane. You're doing something
if I had a
totally
Rolls
different.
Royce, I mean.
But I'm just saying, think about the other things that you can do. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that's circling back to what we're talking about with racism and supremacy and all the people who are consistently, or the races who have gone after African Americans or who have depleted us from being successful, by giving us piss poor jobs and not giving us an opportunity to own radio stations or to buy businesses or to be creative enough in organizations where we can go out on our own and become successful.
And buy yachts.
Yeah, but whatever you want to buy yachts, buy mansions, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The thing of it is, if we had that in our community, see, we need other African Americans to see an African American with a yacht.
That's not a professional athlete.
That's not a professional. Okay, now
you're
back on track, baby.
Now
you're back
this
on
way.
track.
Tom Joyner, as opposed to buying a boat, he bought an airplane. As
He
far
bought
as
a
I know,
plane.
he still has it.
Right.
So, and I thought about it. I said, well, damn, he can fly, out of the country. He can go from coast to coast. I can't do that effectively the same way in a boat. And I thought about buying a plane for that reason. You can get up and go when you want to and, and all that. But I looked at the cost for the type of plane that I would want. It just didn't make sense for me.
Yeah. And they say
Not
that
unless you were traveling pretty much on a regular basis.
Yeah. Right. And Tom could justify it because he was doing the fly jock thing, and he going from Chicago to Detroit, not Detroit.
Actually, he wasn't doing it. By the time he got the plane, he was
done with that. Yeah,
he was
but
done
I think he got the fly bug and he said, well, shit, I want to go when I want to go. So if he wants to jump on the plane in Dallas and go down to Panama, he could do that.
Did he ever learn how to fly it? Ricky Smiley is a certified pilot. He'd been flying his whole life.
I never got the license, but I did go up and take some lessons with a friend of mine, who Ron Ellison, who was record executive, and he was really trying to con me into getting my license and buy the plane from. He has a plane and to buy his plane because he was like 80 years old at that point. That's what shit. I'm right behind you. I'm doing. I could enjoy it for a couple of years, but
I'm 78.
Right. No, I ain't 78 yet. But
I'm just 77.
I just turned 72, so let it be known, and I'm proud of it. You know, there's a lot of people that ain't here, so to make it this far.
But I want to go
And in
back
pretty
and
good health.
touch a little bit. I want to go back and touch a little bit on something. But I saw you had your hand up, Chris. What were you gonna say?
No, you go ahead, and I'll come behind when you get finished with that.
This inspiration of talking about the planes and the yachts, and see, the thing of it is, we take things like this for some reason. For African Americans, we don't see it as something that. And I can't speak for every Black person on the planet. I'm just saying the people that I've seen that have excelled with some of these situations outside of the people that I know personally, like Tom and Lee. You do it to be an influencer. You do it to be seen. You know, sometimes when you buy that house or when you're buying something, you should be setting a plan. And that's where we're missing out. Once again, going back to when we were talking about Donald Trump and what he knew versus the political stance, he knew that all of these guys that were kissing his butt were suckers because he had money.
Allegedly.
Well, he did. I mean, he was a millionaire by the time he was 10 years old because his father was burying money in his name to keep from paying taxes.
Right.
So he had access to the money. But the fact of the matter is, when they get the money, they start this little organization or this little group of people that keeps everybody else out of it. And we kind of have to learn how to do that indirectly. Not that you can't help somebody else to achieve their goal, but that's what they have to be. We've got to become more goal, GOAL oriented than to be more influential minded. You know, being that influence. I want everybody to know I got this gold on, you know what I'm saying? I got these watches, you know, I got 15 cars, you know what I'm saying? And I'm doing this. X-nay that. Show people how to do things that you do. One of the things I'm going to tell you about Mexicans that I like about them, they're all in the landscaping business. They're all in the house building business. They all share that, and it's enough for everybody, and that's how they survive. You can build all the freaking walls you want. They're going to bring Julio and his wife and his brother and his sister. They're going to let them stay in their house. They're going to go get a 5-bedroom house. It's going to be 3 families in that house. And then as soon as the little brother gets himself together, he gets his own house. He gets his own lawn care service.
Do you know, we talked about that before. We talked about that before. There's a professor.
Speaking of lawn care service.
What's up, Professor?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great.
I miss you guys.
We miss you too.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
Sorry I'm late, but it's a couple more. I'm just still moving and still going forward, doing what I have to do. But
we understand.
We expected it. It's okay.
Yeah. And everything we said when you weren't here, just don't worry about it. People come tell you, we were just doing it to feel special.
Oh, amen. That's good. Amen. That put a smile on my face. I like that.
Even when we were talking about you.
Yeah, well, listen, it's just bad when if you weren't talking about me, that's when I would have been worried.
That's
my grandmother used to say all the time, they talked about Jesus.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
At least that I still know I'm still on the mind, because some people, when they're out of sight, they don't get talked about.
All right.
Well, Professor, I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Did you get it yet?
Which one? The Roadcaster 2? Not
Yes,
yet. I'm gonna wait till next week. But I did get the EV though. I did get the Blackboard.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we do see the new mic.
Right there, ain't it?
There you go.
Yeah. Yes, I got the Blackboard.
There it
The
is
little
right
windscreen.
there.
I can get all up on the Blackboard, and I can even sound like bass a little bit.
Windscreen and
Hey,
stuff.
Reggie, I gotta tell you.
Good luck
Reggie,
with
listen.
that.
Reggie, listen to this story. So I'm looking at our text trail, and he's talking to you about our latest invention, right? and you guys were going backwards and forwards. And I was like, I don't need that. And then I got the bug. And I said, well, if Reggie got one, I'm going to go ahead and get one. So I called Lee, and I was giving him the business about 3 days ago. Man, but you got to stop influencing us to be spending this money on these toys. And we ain't got to do everything you do. Didn't I, Lee?
It's a new piece of equipment, by the way, in case you're wondering what it is.
I got to have it. I got to have it because then I can keep the good boy in the house and do stuff. But then the first generation, I could take that out on the road. I can become deadly, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing on location podcast.
That was my justification as well.
And most importantly, you keep up with the Joneses.
That's it.
No,
but Reggie, I got to tell you this story. I got to tell you a story.
Go ahead.
So I called Lee, and I'm blessing him out about forcing me, you and him talking about it on the text, and I go ahead and I get it. And guess what I find out, Professor?
Go ahead.
It's going to be delivered tomorrow.
Right.
No, you're getting yours tomorrow?
Wait. So Lee said his is coming on the 22nd. So I'm driving home, went out and made a couple of trips today, and I saw something from the company that we get it from. And I said, I wonder what they wanted. And I opened the email, and they tell me some damn shit about it's in the supply chain stuff. And I'm not going to get mine until the 22nd.
Right.
You didn't need it anyway, Negro. Calm down.
Yeah, because it just got released on the 15th.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing as the last one. It's going to do the same thing.
I was going to have it tomorrow.
It's going to do the same thing.
Right.
No, it isn't. It's a totally redesigned unit.
Whatever.
So after you guys get it, right? After you guys get it, then and y'all do your thing with it, then when I get mine, it'll be easier.
When you get yours?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna probably wait a month. I haven't ordered mine yet. I'm gonna wait, and then I'm gonna just go ahead on and sneak and get it.
And Mike already's listen. You're watching at home. Mike already has two that do the exact same thing as this new piece of equipment, and it's like he just had to waste $800 just because he was burning a hole in his pocket.
Wait a minute,
trying to keep up with the Joneses.
It's Lee's fault, Chris.
Is it $800? Is it $800?
$699.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought.
No, it's $799. It's $100 more. It's $100 more.
Is it?
Mine was $699.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, $699. $700. $700.
I paid $600 for that. $699 for the first one.
No, it's $599.
It was
$5.99?
The old one was $5.99. The new one is $6.99. That Mike just had to spend because he has too much money on his hands.
No, I didn't have too much money. It was Lee and Professor. If they hadn't have been on there talking about it, they didn't have to share me in the text message. I don't care nothing about that. I just love the Professor personally. But I didn't need to be on no text message about what he buying. That's what influenced me to do it.
And you bought it.
Yeah, when
you are too old to be following the leader.
Whatever Lee said, when I checked it out and when I seen the thing had line input, that was it for me. I'm done.
That's it. See, and when I saw it, I said, "Oh, Professor's gonna love this." That one feature is what he was looking for. And it has that now.
The line
boys and their toys.
That's right.
I mean, that's
wait a minute. What are you talking on right now? What is that microphone you have there?
You just said it.
Yeah, and you got you a hypercardioid mic. I see you got the long.
I've had this mic for 10 years.
Okay, is it a Sennheiser? Is it a Sennheiser?
Yes, it's a Sennheiser, and I bought it when I had money.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the same mic that I have. I have one of those as well.
And you're not using it right now. I don't know why.
Well, because it's sitting over there in the case, but I have it right there. I could plug it in if you want me to.
Plug it in. I dare you.
About a half hour to go.
This happens to be the best mic.
Favor and don't bring anything else in that room because that room is crowded. It looked like an episode of Sanford and Son in there.
It is.
Don't. And Fred's getting up right now. Go ahead, Fred.
Chris, look at all the stuff in there. See, it looks like an episode of Sanford and Son.
It didn't take much.
This is his Bel Air.
Y'all gonna make me get that Sennheiser, man.
This is his Bel Air mansion that he's in right now.
Yeah.
His high rise in Las Vegas is empty right now.
Wait a minute, Dr. Ron, you sitting way back in the cut. What's up, bro?
He's watching the game right now.
Yeah. Of course, I'm watching the game. I can't wait to ruin Buck Wheezy's fun because he told me don't tell him anything about the game. And I
because I
can't
DVR'd it.
I can't wait to mess him up.
I might have to sign off a little early because I know this Negro is probably going to say, "Hey, guess what? Warriors won."
Yeah. So
you gonna be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, let me can I circle back around? Because I got to get this in before the show is over. We got a good 30 minutes, and Professor just came in. We started out the show talking about the 3 episodes.
Check.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, loud and wrong.
Sorry about that.
Talking about the 3 episodes of the hearing that they have been talking about all of the people, and they strategically broke it down to who did what and why. And there's a lot of naysayers that thinks that it's not going to go anywhere, but the way they have strategically pointed the finger to all of the culprits that were involved in this major catastrophe, they have no choice but to try and indict, Trump as one and all of his cohorts. And not only is that going to be a major issue, but, I think, as a byproduct, that the Republicans are really going to take a major hit in the midterm election.
Oh, I think they're going to do great.
No.
I hope you're right, Dr. Ron, but I would not be surprised only if the truth really penetrates the population. But see, when you have an outlet like Fox that really controls the mindset of those hardcore Trumpers, until you can reach them, you're not going to see any change.
Well,
in fact, it might get worse.
And also, too, I think the people on both sides are worried about the precedent that it would set to send a former president to jail.
Well, I know
I think that should not be a concern. He should,
whether it should or not be, should be or should not be.
Fire him up, send him to jail. I think they're concerned
about that.
For life.
Sets a bad precedent.
No, it should be, because if you don't, there'll be another asshole that comes along to try to do the same thing.
And
if one gets away with it, another one will take it to the next step.
And there might be, but hopefully he won't get elected.
Well, we're looking at this like the Republicans are the only ones going to be voting in the midterm. Okay, we got a perfect storm going on here, and I said this to Lee a couple of weeks ago.
Right,
we've got the Senate hearings going on. We also have all of the women inflamed and empowered right now because of the
Roe v. Wade.
Exactly. Okay, so you got that going on. So there's going to be a voting block of people that have been fired up over what's going on and you've got all this racist and gun control going on. So that's a perfect storm. You got 3 major issues that the Republicans are standing firm on, thinking that they got control over the voting block, and it's going to incite other people not to want to vote.
It will be an interesting midterm.
It will be. It's going to be very interesting because there are a lot of issues, but only if the message gets out to the majority of the voters and convince them that what happened was criminal as it relates to Trump.
Boy.
We got the gun.
But it's not the public. It's not the court of public opinion that really matters, though, Mr. Michaels.
Well, it is. It does matter. How do you think Trump got elected. He convinced.
But when it comes to
people through-
elections,
Right,
I see.
right.
Sorry, I see what you're saying. So in terms of the
Government.
voting,
Yeah.
how people will vote.
Sure.
Yeah. But you know what's so funny? There's something we should have learned by now. You never know how elections are going to really turn out.
Well, that's true. That's
You
why
just
it's so
never know. It's just like-
important
sort
for
of
people
like
to
how-
get engaged.
Sort of like how you never, when you're in radio, you never know what song is going to be a hit, right? I mean, it could be the trashiest, stupidest song in the world. Like,
True.
that's just my baby daddy. And the song's be a major hit, and you're like, how?
You know,
It'd be a great song. Another great song comes out, and you're like, oh, yeah, people are going to love this. This is a great song, and it flops.
okay,
You just never know what the public is going to gravitate towards.
you guys, I just love all this political theater and all these what ifs and whatever.
Oh, that's right. A lot of thought.
And so I'm getting ready to take it to Boomerang. And you know the scene when Grace Jones is sitting across from Eddie Murphy.
Oh, goodness.
And then she sits up there, and after Eddie Murphy says this, that, and other, and she say, well, okay, when are we gonna
Yes.
Smash.
She
So
said,
I'm
never
saying
mind that. Never mind that. When are we gonna?
Smash.
So I'm saying, never mind that. What are we gonna do when whatever happens? What are the solutions on us right now? Based on the perfect storm, all of that stuff. What are we gonna do to fortify whatever we have to make a stronger push to what suggestions do we have? Okay, if this happens with this, then what are we gonna do? If this
I love
happens
that.
this day, what are we gonna do?
I
Okay?
love that.
Because we can spin the wheels, we can get up there like Groucho Marx. What was that show he had to tell it? Now, what was it where he
You bet your life.
you bet your life. Okay,
Right.
so that's what we sitting up here doing. We betting our life. Pulling
Right.
down the thing, hoping the lucky number hits. And so I gotta go to Grace Jones where she says, when are we got,
Gonna
so
smash.
F that, what solutions are we gonna bring to the table? I mean,
Well,
that's
Be interesting.
It starts with voting. Register to vote, get out and vote for what's going to impact on your life.
Except that you
What
know
are the
that
real-
most times.
what are the things right now that's going to be like, for example, in the march on Washington, we had 10 demands.
Mhm.
All we need right now, if we could come up with 3 demands, just 3, that we can hope to sell to our people or present to our people to say that this is what we have to come together on. 3 demands. If we
When you say come together, who are you trying to get to come together? Are you talking about
I'm
the Democrats
talking
and
the
the
masses.
Republicans?
Listen, I don't care if you twiddly dee or twiddly dumb. Because
Turn
if you ain't got no money and you need money, because based on what we're seeing right now, it doesn't matter whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, because if you poor, you still in trouble.
Well, that's true. But what I'm trying to understand is when I go to the poll, I vote for the platform of the person that best convinced me that he or she has my best interests at heart.
Agreed.
So what's important to me and my family is a good income for everyone, health care, put a lid on this gun shit, fix that, cut the crime, and put a cap on things that we all need, and reduce some of these taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that, off the top of my mind, are most important to me.
But it's usually low turnout for midterm.
Well, yeah, but I think I hope that we see a different, we look, in the last presidential election was a record-breaking turnout. On
That
both
was a
sides.
presidential election.
Yeah, but
low turnout and
no,
midterms.
hold on.
Okay, so
But the midterm turnout has been growing over the last, say, 7 or 8, no, maybe 4 or 5 midterms. So I think people are beginning to understand the importance of that midterm election. Because if you don't go out and vote for the senators and the representatives, both on the state and federal level, then the outcome in the presidential election is not going to be in your favor.
Now
One of
it'll
the
be pretty
things that
high here in Georgia because Stacey Abrams is
Well, I
trying to
think,
knock
yeah,
off
yep.
Governor Kemp. But
I hope so. And I
not
send
every
money. I send money to her and Warlock.
because you
to-
got billions. That's why you're a good
Yes.
billionaire.
okay, so out of the 10 demands on the march on Washington, I'm gonna just look at number 10. A federal fair employment. Federal Fair Employment Practicing Act. Hold on one more time. A Federal Fair Employment Practices Act, barring discrimination by federal, state, and municipal governments and by employers, contractors, employment agencies, and trade unions. So, are we going to fight for more jobs or the right to have more jobs? Because what is it? Or we can look at number 9, a broad and fair labor standards act to include all areas of employment which are presently excluded.
But right now unemployment's pretty low, so that's probably not going to happen.
What you saying? Unemployment is pretty low.
According to the statistics, yeah.
Oh, is it now? Then give me a clear view definition of what pretty.
I don't
low
know. That's
is.
what this thing called Google's for.
Okay,
But,
I'm hip. I'm hip to that. But what's the number? What's the pretty low number now?
I just saw it on the news today. We're at record low
I think it
unemployment.
is.
It's pretty low,
5%.
right?
Around 5%.
All right,
like that.
and so we have to be
Or
careful.
lower.
We have to be careful at all of those things we hear now at these times because it's election times, and every number and everything or whatever, it's going to be really inflated. It's really going to be inflated to show.
Is that what we're going with now? Oh, well, you can't believe everything you see on the news because it's inflated.
Yeah, I would go with that. We still got to still have some thought to research. You can't just believe everything what happens on the news. I don't care on what network.
Okay.
It's
I don't care.
3.6%.
I don't. What is it?
3.6.
Yeah, but that's inflated because that's what Reggie said.
No, it ain't what I said, but 3 points in which neighborhood though?
No, that's the national rate.
Oh,
Not in a specific neighborhood.
Okay,
that's
so
the U.S. unemployment rate.
that means that's almost everybody working, right?
Well, yeah, except for 3.6.
Yeah. Ooh.
Let me say the following. There's a scene in the movie Malcolm X when Malcolm goes to prison, and the character is trying to convert him to Islam, and he's in the shower. He gives him his last fix, the cinnamon with the water in it, and he says to him, "Who are you?" Though the question is, "Who are you?" As he says to Malcolm, we have to know who we are before we do anything. As black people, we have let everybody come into our communities and thoroughly infiltrate it. They redefined the family. They made the government the father, took the father out of the household. You get that check. When I was living in a neighborhood here in Chicago called South Shore, and it was at night, I'm reading my newspaper, and my next door neighbor had her daughter was about 18. And I never forget the conversation. She says to her, when you turn 18, make sure you go down and get aid. That's about 2 generations of public aid. The mother's encouraging her daughter to get aid. She's on aid and wants the daughter to get aid.
That happens.
And we talk about movies and like all the time and soundtracks. Go back to Claudine. Again, you look at Diane Carroll and the roles that she was playing in that role, and also James Earl Jones. When the government representative had to come by, what did he do? Get rid of the toaster and get rid of all the luxuries because they want no signs of anybody trying to progress themselves, or especially a man living in the household when they had these house checks. Then you go into the 80s, this is the 70s, going to the 80s, COINTELPRO. I mean, from that perspective, sitting in the 80s, when all of the black communities were infiltrated with drugs from the government. And so we don't know who the hell we are from the standpoint of just who ourselves as who are individuals, and the family dynamic has been completely busted.
That's right.
Everybody on this panel had a definition of family as how they were raised. Then when they became parents, everybody on this panel became parents, then how you're able to take that DNA from what you were raised in and then raise your own children and create your own families. What if you didn't have any DNA to work with? What if you had nothing? What if you were nothing inside? You couldn't teach anybody anything because you're dead inside. How can the dead teach the dead?
Whoa.
It is impossible.
Whoa.
So we have to take our blessings for what they are. We have to be more stringent. We have to be more dynamic. We have to be more proactive. If it's no more than talking to somebody on the street, if a conversation ensues, impart the knowledge. Let them know. I saw a viral video recently of Denzel Washington talking to the Miami Heat players like Jimmy Butler and those guys. And he told them, when you see a hearse going down the street, there's no U-Haul truck behind it.
No.
Because you can't take it with you. You can't. So for us on this panel and for other people you know, we have to do our due justice, our due diligence to help our families, to help our friends. And damn it, we might have helped some strangers along the way. Why? Because we have to reconnect to some sort of family. When you talk about the March on Washington, when you talk about when you're going back in the day, in 70s or 80s or whatever, you had family. You knew what the hell family was. And imagine if you didn't have that. Imagine if your mother did not know how to do anything, but argue at you and say, look like your damn daddy. It weighs on your psyche. It weighs on your mental ability to even comport yourself on a daily basis. So before we do anything, we have to reestablish who the hell we are.
And you know what's really hard about that is, and kind of depressing, is that raising a child in this day and age is even more difficult than it's ever been before because of the influence of social media, these video games. I mean, they have video games. These kids are playing video games on their phone all the time. A good parent will take their phone away from them and limit the amount of time they spend on it doing these videos, because otherwise they're going to be zombies like this the whole time, all the time.
Right.
They'll
have no social skills or to interact with people.
Man, it is
outside of being on that phone.
It's scary. So, for parents now, I've got a female friend that's got a teenager. I feel bad for her. I told her the other day, I'm like, I feel sorry for you. You have to deal with this sort of crap. Like, I mean, there's so many influence. She worries about her kid just walking home. School is only a couple miles away. And I'm like, what do you do?
I'm so glad I don't have kids. I have grandchildren now I'm concerned about.
And then and listen, every time you turn the TV on, what do they see on TV? Every time you turn the TV on, it's another school shooting. It's like, oh, come on.
Well,
so yeah, that's a long road to go down. Because you're right, we need to concentrate on the family first and foremost, because that's where it all starts. That's the backbone of society, is the family.
I am so glad that even with all these things that are going against, or that makes it more complicated to deal with our youth, I found that just having that conversation I got a 15-year-old, and I got a 15-year-old, and I think one of the best experiences, or some of the greatest experience that I've been having, is with her now, because one of the things that I preach to her is that, listen, we gotta talk, and I want you to. I'm encouraging her, be you, and say what you got to say. I may not like it, or I may not agree with it, but whatever it is, I'm still gonna love you, dude. I'm still gonna love you. It's just gonna be straight out, and we just gonna have to work these things out. And that support with that young lady, she's opening up and talking to me. I'm like, I have to get up now and take her out there and play basketball with her, and I can't play. I have to throw the ball, just some fundamental stuff that what I can do at my age and things like that. Because if you're going to be interested in anything you're going to be interested in, at least try to be the best at it. Try to be the best at it. And it's great when you can support the kids, even though she got the phone. I'm on, man, why don't you put that thing down? However that goes, I still try to reach her where she is. And the only way they're going to be better communicators is we have to talk to them. We can't keep you can't keep pointing out, why are you using this cell phone? Why are you doing that? Because sometimes too, I can't put my cell phone down my doggone self,
Yeah. Right.
How's the pot gonna call the kettle black?
Right.
So you don't do that. So you try to meet them where they are. See, one of the things that we've been tricked out of is the fact that we trying to act like they're the enemy. And you don't fight against them. It reminds me of Bays, here we go again. It reminds me of Colors and the
movie.
Yeah, Colors, the movie. And so the two cops, whatever it is, one of them say, well, look, let's run down there and get us one of them bulls. I mean, one of them cows. And the older cop says, no, let's walk and get them all.
Right.
Right. And so, our purpose is to give them wisdom, whether they accept it or not. We got to keep putting that wisdom out there. Otherwise, the enemy will get them. And, we can't allow the enemy to take 2 for 1 with our children. We can't allow that. See, because they get caught up in this, they get lost.
But the difficult part is, like Lee was saying earlier, is that how in other cultures, they respect their elders and they listen to what the elders say. When the elders speak, they pay attention.
And I ain't caring
they
about.
Think, oh, we're old. They think, oh, you're old. You're out of touch.
That's all right. If they say that, I'm gonna still put that wisdom out there, because sooner or later it's got to ring a bell.
That's right. I mean, listen, my dad died when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
And he was 73.
Wow.
Okay. Now, he used to have all these little wise sayings, and it went in one ear, right out the other when you're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. He would say things like, son, don't rush to fail. What the hell are you talking about, old man? I didn't disrespect him. I would go, okay, Dad.
You just didn't understand.
A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. He would say things to me that would be one of those situations where I might have come into the house and I think I know something, right? But I don't really know what the hell I'm talking about. So he would throw that little nugget at me. So I hear his voice and I feel those words and I live by them today.
Okay, how old were you when you started? When they started making sense?
When I started bumping my head more often on stupid shit. And
when you learn from your own mistakes, right?
Well, yeah.
And sometimes you got to let the kids do that. Learn
or right before I was about to make a mistake, that voice would start reverbing in my head.
It was a cat that I grew up with. Wasn't my dad or anything like that, but when I was in my Royal Oaks years, when I was like the jitterbug, I'm 17, 18. That too. When I'm 18, 19, and 20, I'm at the post office. I'm making $5.24 an hour. Man, I'm big time. I had
you was balling.
I had a car. I had a not a government, but a government job. You understand? I had a government job. And so I'm getting all this money. And so one of my supervisors, his name is John Allen, and God rest his soul, bless him. He told me two things, and I wish that I had been, I had not been so hard-headed. See, because we all think that the hard-headedness is on the youth of today. No, we all been hard-headed. Ain't no need of you.
I know I was.
Ain't no need of you.
Yes.
Ain't no need.
Right.
Ain't no need of sitting up here telling that lie. So my man told me, he said it's impossible to have youth and experience at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what he told me. And then the next thing he told me was save your money. He said, save all your money. Save it. He said, save your money. But it went right in one end up. And had I had did just to saving my money at $10 a whop, back then I would be pretty good for retirement right now.
Yeah.
My dad used to say the same thing. Buck, save your money.
So
save your money.
So we all fall prey to that. But listen, that does not mean that we have to stop saying it. Because somebody is going to hear it. And we need to just say it just in hopes that somebody does hear it. We have to, it takes a village. It takes a village, and we have to not stop being the villagers.
That's right.
We have to stop that. Listen, one of the things that we really lose sight and focus on is the community of elders. We got to have, whether they respect it or whatever, the elders should never stop talking. Y'all know y'all went to the barber shop, and most of the times when you went to the barber shop, you went to the barber shop because you love to hear the old dudes talk. And then some cats in some neighborhoods, they went to the pool hall. Y'all know we had these places. And listen, and you all know, each one of you brothers know that if we had any control or type of access with that, the scales would not be unbalanced. This is what's happening right now. You've got weight of garbage like this, but yet and still, the good part that needs the weight has nothing on it. We have to put some weight over here to bring stuff in balance for our own children. But if you want to say, well, the kids be doing this, and then the news is doing that. We keep throwing so much stuff on one side.
Amen.
Put something on the other side.
Some positive information.
Yeah, on the other side. We can't keep succumbing to what's going on, to things that we can't control. Well, the rappers, they making money and they doing all this, and the kids is buying it, but because we haven't offered them an alternative on how they should look at the way that the industry is using these people, and they go along with it to put some mess out there against our own kind. That's like knowing the drug dealer that lives next door to you in your neighborhood. They selling drugs and you can't do nothing about it because you've been close to them. But then you want to sanction it. You understand? So what type of alternatives you going to get to help balance the stuff so our kids, information is power. And we got to give our people more vision to see things so they can make better decisions. Maya Angelou said, we'll do better when we know better. Y'all know how that goes. So once we know better, back to you, Base, about ourselves, we do better.
Amen.
And ain't women.
Amen.
All right. It's been a great show.
Yep. Well, I'm glad to see that we got the whole band together tonight. And again, I apologize for being absent for 4 weeks, but work called and I had to live up to that responsibility.
And save up for another yacht.
No, just new mixers and microphones.
Yeah, the Rodecaster number 3.
That's right. I'm waiting. And I do have another mic here with me in my travel case. This is a interviewer's mic.
Yeah.
So when I'm out on the streets doing
Is
the
it
interview.
AKG?
No, this is a Rode.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got the 2 Rodes here and a Sennheiser.
Man, them Australians is getting our money, ain't they?
I'm saying.
Quick.
Yeah, there's a
But
camera
it's
company.
funny what you just said, Reggie, about them getting our money. Yeah, they getting our money, but it goes back to what Chris said. How do we use it for our own good? Because the thing of it is right now, the racism can't play a role over the socialism. The social media right now is available to everybody. Just like we sitting on here with 6 guys and you, there's nothing stopping us from having an agenda. It's what Chris said and what you came and backed him up with. You got to have a personal agenda. And that's what a lot of times our children don't see in us. That was a great point that you made. If your kids need to see your agenda in order for them to have an agenda, not 50 Cent, not Snoop Dogg doing Corona commercials, not all these other people who are influencing them. What is your parent doing? What is there something about that you can go, yeah, my dad, he do this or he does that, and my mom is
Role models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's right.
And sometimes we count ourselves out because we think because we're a nurse or we drive cars or we do stuff that's not good enough. The fact of the matter is, if we get biblical, you woke up this morning. That's the first
okay. Now
time.
look out now. I've been around. You done said something in the language you won't understand.
You see what I'm saying? You woke up this morning, so everybody should be proud of that.
That's right.
Number 2, what are you doing that somebody else may look at and go, wow, that's pretty ingenious what he's doing or what she's doing? That's what's missing I'm just going to keep it real as we wrap up because I know Lee's getting ready to close. Let's stop blaming racism for our problems. Our problems ain't racism.
Thank you.
Not exclusively.
It ain't racism. Because we got access to microphones, Zoom, StreamYard, social media, podcasting, YouTube. We have access to it. You can't blame it on racism.
I'm glad you said it, because if I said it, I'd have got my ass raped. But you have credibility for some reason because of your age.
I'm serious. You have access.
Yeah.
That's what
it's a different world now. The playing field is a little more level than what it was 20 years ago.
Use it.
It's
Thanks,
better.
Mike.
No question.
Use it.
But
all right.
But there's still a but there. Knowledge is still missing. Okay. One and in closing here, one of the things that I try to do, and I'm gonna go full screen on it. One of the things that I try to do is what little bit of knowledge I have, I want to pass it on. And I spend a lot of time with one of my fellow broadcasters here, Ron. We talk every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And I'm on him like white on rice about expanding his knowledge and receiving, not just from me, but from others. I send him videos for little training videos on different types of software and hardware. And he's a geek, but he gives me pushback at times, and that's okay. I'm not going to stop. And I, not only with Ron, because I love him and I love everybody on this panel, what little bit of knowledge I have, receive it. I'm trying to pass it on because somebody did that for me in my humble beginnings. Somebody shared time and effort and knowledge with me. And I promised some of those guys that are no longer here that I would do the same. So if we do that, if we all do that, we will become a better society. And I think we have an obligation, a responsibility to do just that. And I know Professor does it. I know Mike does. I know Chris does. I know Buck does it. Ron does it. We all are doing it. We're passing on what we know to someone else. So I encourage you, our viewers, to do the same thing. Help us help you. Help us help another. Pass on that knowledge. Don't be selfish. And like they said earlier, you can't take it with you. So if you don't do anything else with your life, leave a nugget for someone else. With that, thank you again for being here tonight. Tell a friend about what we're doing. Send them a link. Share, like, and subscribe. We're trying to build up the YouTube channel. So please, if you're on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever you are, come to YouTube and join us because we got some big things coming up and we want you to be a part of it. With that, God bless, be safe, take care of the babies.